I think there's a lot of jobs that people don't realize that apply to this. Like you go into construction and it's always good skills to have in life. I actually gained a lot because before this class I hadn't really done any woodworking. So I learned how to use basically all the power tools and saws, drills. Also you learn a lot like how to measure out the lumber you need and what can be extra and what you're not going to use and ways to incorporate it, I guess, into other projects. He's a great teacher. I mean, he lets the kids, and like you see out there, there's a canoe in the middle of the shop. He lets us be unique and build what we want and gives us a lot of free time to build what we're interested in. I was the only girl in my class, but it was fun. I mean, I think he understands that I wasn't exactly sure when I was first starting out of what to do on a lot of it, and he definitely helped me out a bunch.
I've built a gun cabinet, I've built a bedside chest, I've built a canoe. So I was pretty eligible for my job, and the skills I learned in this class helped me to do better and to problem solve at my job and made me a better handyman.
Mr. Dow was honestly my favorite teacher in school. My senior year, I didn't have to take too many classes, so I kind of cheated a little bit and didn't take too many. Just did what I needed to basically complete the semester to graduate with my friends. And so the second semester of my senior year, the only class I took was cabinet making too with Mr. Dow, only because I wanted to come to wood shop every day, and I enjoyed working with the wood, and that's when I learned that I wanted to actually work with my dad and go into the family business. I learned all the skills, how to properly use the tools and what the tools actually did. Whereas before I wasn't entirely sure on what some tools would do or how to use them, but then with the instruction I was able to learn how to use it and the best way to use it and the multiple varieties of what one tool could do for you. It made me want to wake up in the mornings and actually feel like I had a purpose. It made me feel like I had something that I thoroughly enjoyed to do and thoroughly loved to do. And therefore, I said to myself, if I enjoy it this much in woodshop, then I'm sure I will enjoy it this much for a career choice. And so then after that, I told my dad, I said, hey, I'm going to start working here, but I don't know how long it's going to last. If I don't like it, then I'm going to go find something else to do. And he said, well, what are you going to find to do? I said, well, I'll probably go to college and become a woodshop teacher. Seems how I loved woodshop. And he said, all right, well, we'll just see how this goes. And so he gave me the job for that summer. And at the end of the summer, I came to him and I was like, you got me. I'm all yours. I'll be here until you tell me I'm not. First of all, he's truly a great teacher and a great professional about what he does. My little brother, I don't know if it's okay to talk about him here, but my little brother also took Mr. Dow's woodshop class. And he approached my little brother knowing that I loved this class and that my dad and I were out in the field, and he said, hey, I'm thinking about building a canoe in my woodshop class. Would you like to be the first one to build a canoe? And my little brother, he thought about it and he paused about it for a while, and then finally I was like, just build it. If you have any problems, Dad and I will go up there and we'll kind of walk you through them. And if Mr. Dow can't walk you through it, or why not? And so then my little brother decided to go ahead and build the canoe. And at the time I'm thinking to myself, there's no way they can build a canoe out of wood in a little wood shop, you know. But lo and behold, we took the thing out, the canoe floats on the water even. It's a miracle. I didn't sink. I was a little worried. I wore my life jacket. We would have never thought to build a longboard in wood shop. We always thought, oh, let's just make something simple for Mom, you know. Let's make her a cute little shelf or a nice little picture frame she can put my senior photo in. It never was. Let's make something awesome for ourselves to enjoy for the future. Until Mr. Dow got us to do that.
I teach two different classes, woodworking and cabinet making. And this is my 11th year teaching and 9th year here at Kelly Walsh. I worked in a program called Youth Build at the time, and that was kind of targeting at-risk students and dropouts that didn't really like the traditional classroom setting. And we met on a job site every day and did several construction jobs throughout Casper. The math piece is really easy, and I found that even though students learn to measure in 2nd and 3rd grade, they don't use it enough to remember. So we basically review those skills, and I try to reteach it. I guess the difference for me is I can make it very applicable because they realize they need to know this information, whereas before they don't know if they'll ever use it in their life or not. So when I teach it, I basically ask them to use that skill to build a project, or I give them an assignment that actually requires them to use those hands-on skills and actually string a tape measure or read a ruler to the nearest 16th. And we deal with a lot of fractions too, which can be challenging for kids until they see the real-world application, and then it usually clicks, but that's the goal anyway. So there's a lot of science involved in our classes too, and it's pretty easy to integrate that. There's even some high-level math, trigonometry, and calculating area, perimeters, volumes. So again, that's stuff that they've done in a textbook before, but maybe never really applied it. We've built sheds in the past. We've also built smaller pieces like dog houses, and we've done some cool things with the math class where we actually calculate the cost of materials, and for example, we calculated the area of a roof and how many squares of shingles do we need. And a lot of people aren't familiar with that terminology, and it's a simple skill that most people can do if they just have a little bit of guidance on it. So back to the framing piece though, yeah, we kind of shut down the cabinet making part and use our measuring and cutting skills to frame a shed, and we start from the ground up. We do a skid floor. We frame out the floor on 12-inch centers. We cover it with sheeting, usually like a tongue and groove OSB, and then we frame the walls. We try to work in a door and a window just to kind of replicate a real house, and then go all the way up. And typically we build our own rafters, and then kids get to do trim, roofing, siding, and I feel like it's a good experience for them. Even if they're not going into the trades, someday they're going to own a home and need some of these skills, and they can save a lot of money if they know just a little bit of the basics. I just like to do things that interest kids, and I guess I'm kind of a big kid. I have a lot of interests too. Some of those interests are riding longboards, and they're usually made of wood, so we figured out how to build those. And I've had some pretty good influences in my career too that have taught me some of these things, and then I've integrated it into my classroom and curriculum. Other skills or other interests that I have are primitive archery, which is building bows, which can be long bows, they can be reflex-deflex bows, laminated bows. And once I got a taste of that, I thought, man, I think kids would enjoy this too. So I brought that into the classroom. We build our own bows, we build our strings, we build our arrows, and our success rate isn't great on the bows, but when they do survive, it's a really fun project. And usually kids will see another student building that, and they'll be like, man, I want to try that too. So it kind of is contagious and catches on, and it just spreads, I guess. And there's a lot of students that have similar interests, and I encourage them to try this once. A student approached us earlier this year and said, man, I'd really like to try a paddleboard. Well, it's something we've never done before, so we might crash and burn on this first attempt, but if we ever do it again, we'll get better. And I'm anticipating it'll work, but I know that if we were to do it again, we can improve it and polish it and refine it and make it a little bit better each time. So I think kids really do like a challenge, and they want to strive to meet that challenge, whatever it may be. You know, maybe it's a paddleboard. Yeah, you can go buy one wherever for $200-300, but not many people can say they've built one. Same with the canoes we build here, same with the drift boat that, you know, the students built last year. It's a pretty unique experience just saying that you've done this, especially as a high school junior or senior or sophomore. So I think, you know, just the fact that it's unique and that it hasn't been done before, and the excitement of trying, that is what appeals to kids and helps us to be innovative. A lot of the guys in our department could make a lot more money in the industry, but I think the reason that we do what we do is because we like to inspire kids, and we like being around the kids. I think secretly their youth kind of keeps us young at heart. And you know, there's just a great enjoyment about sharing your knowledge and skills with kids, and also getting them to see the benefit of being able to build something with their hands, or fuse two pieces of metal together with a weld. So there's I guess we're all just really passionate about this, and we want kids to at least taste this and get some of these experiences before they enter into the world. I did okay in high school, but I really endured a lot of painful classes just so I could go to the wood shop. And as a teacher, I see that in a lot of our students here. And it's not just woodworking, it's auto and welding and ag and everything else that we offer too. But a lot of kids don't enjoy the math, science, and English, but if they get a little bit of time to make some sawdust or run a bead in welding or change their tires in an auto shop, they'll show up for the day with that in mind, and that's kind of what they look forward to. So they get through everything else just to come to our classes, and there's many kids like that here at Kelly Walsh and in other schools. So I think our programs are very important, because if kids didn't have that little something to look forward to, they probably wouldn't roll out of bed for school, or they could find something else to do in town other than coming to school. So there's a select few kids that really need these type of classes, so it's important in our state, especially with our economy, that we continue to offer and support them financially and provide good instructors for them. All these kids are going to own a home at some point in their life, and it's pretty expensive to hire a plumber or a contractor or a carpenter to come over. So if you just have a few skills, and it might just be measuring and cutting or being familiar with shingles or some of these things that we cover, you can save tons of money. And it's also pretty rewarding knowing that you can do this stuff with your hands. And that's one thing I like about what I teach. When we frame a wall section, we can start with just some lumber and some hammers and nails, and then 90 minutes later we got 2 wall sections standing. I can think of a young lady right now that she was pretty difficult, and she was in some illegal stuff that she probably shouldn't have been in, and it was affecting her judgment. But she still came occasionally. She had pretty poor attendance, and we just kind of encouraged her and tried to get her through. But 2-3 years later, she came in and just was very humble and just said, thank you for being nice to me when I wasn't nice to you. Thank you for encouraging me. Thank you for giving me these skills, because I really appreciate them. But at the time, I didn't show you that. So it's stuff like that that kind of keeps me going. And there's a lot of kids that have rough childhood or rough lives, and they may not be the best student, but it's nice if they come back and are appreciative or thankful for what we tried to do for them. I think anytime a kid builds a project that they poured their heart and soul into and leave here with something that's useful and something they can see and touch, I think that's a success in itself. And it might not be the best nightstand or the best table or the best hall mirror, but they did their best, and I think that counts for a lot too. You definitely have to think ahead in our program, and kids don't realize that until they try to build stuff. And the piece that I really like to these classes is technical reading and writing, and I'm referring to step-by-step instructions. I'm referring to following a blueprint or a plan. Those are skills that not many kids or people possess, and it's kind of becoming a lost art, I guess. So we really try to encourage kids to follow a procedure or to follow a written set of plans. And if the plan says 3 5/16, you cut it at that measurement. It's not whatever you think it should be. The one thing about school is we want it to be a safe place to fail, if that makes sense, because there's a lot of learning that comes from failure. So it's okay. It's okay to fail and screw up and learn from it and get better. And once you get out in the real world, it's a little bit more painful. So it's nice to know you have a safe place to do that here. Skills is pretty near and dear to my heart, because I was actually, a product or a competitor in skills. Now, as an advisor, I encourage my kids, because there's so many great things that come from Skills USA. They require us to turn in resumes. I think there's a lot of other competitions that encourage kids to be good interviewers and parliamentary procedures. But again, it's all life skills that you're going to need once you hit the real world. So skills kind of prepares kids and makes them more marketable in a pool of applicants for jobs. Plus, it's just a cool organization that really supports career and technical education, among many other things. So the experience that we're going to have going to nationals is going to be fantastic. There's a lot of really interesting things that happen there. And again, if you have a pile of 50 resumes and 2 or 3 say Skills USA, we hope that those rise to the top for an employer, because those employers that have seen the product of Skills USA, seen these kids that have been involved, they're going to want them. So I think it's great that we get our students involved in Skills USA. Honestly, it's very humbling, because oftentimes I underestimate or feel like what I'm doing isn't that great, and man, I could do better if this, or it'd be better for kids if that. But you know, it's an honor just to be recognized within Wyoming, because I know there's a lot of phenomenal teachers that do similar things to what I do, or better. And as far as the regional award, it honestly blows my mind, because I can't imagine how many other quality programs are out there, and just to be ranked among them or recognized among them is truly an honor, and it's humbling for me. So it's probably definitely one of the high points of my career. I talked about the tangible, something you can touch results of project-based learning, which is basically what we do. I mean, that's a new term, but it's really nothing new in the wood shop or auto shop or welding. These programs have been doing projects since we started, and I think that's part of the appeal to traditional career and tech classes like what we have here at Kelly Walsh. So I think it's rewarding for them, just like it's rewarding for me to work with your hands on a project and see it develop and see it come together, and also know that it's something that's going to last for decades and that other people can enjoy. In the case of Calvin Whited, you know, he does floors all over the state for many schools and also residential homes, but that's something that's going to last 40 or 50 years. There's been a lot of positive influences in my life that I'm grateful for. The first one would be my first grade teacher from elementary school, and she's still teaching today. Her name is Mrs. Emmons, Marilyn Emmons, and she just really got a hold of me and helped encourage me, and I think of her often, and she still has an impact on me, even though I'm past her classroom by many years. The power that she had over my life encouraged me. Man, the way she impacted me, if I could impact a couple of kids like that, it'd be a pretty rich experience that I'd like to try to get into. I think teachers need to know how much power and impact they can have on a kid, because I mean, I didn't know if I was going to graduate high school, and I got past that and went through college, got a master's degree, got several different certificates, and it's all because of her encouragement. And you know, what she did for me, and just taking a little bit of extra time out of her schedule, really changed the course of my life. So it's an honor to be able to give back to the profession, and like I said before, I hope that I can reach a kid or two as well as she reached me, because it's powerful and it can really change the trajectory of somebody's future.